ready to fly.
And we welcome you to another edition of This Is Wrestling. It is Slammiversary alongside the one and only Hornsey, Zach McGibbon. Hornsey, how are you?
Doing pretty good, Lee. I am back at Belleville once again. I am feeling good. And we had the heat wave that's done, and now we're having just regular summer temperatures as opposed to the 30, 40 degree searing heat that has been making its way through the region. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, how can you not? Sleeping temperatures are back.
Yeah.
And our talk about some WWE and TNA back. We have focused on AEW for a couple of shows in a row. And I think a quick follow-up on Dynamite, because I thought it was a very important Dynamite after the All-In show. So we'll catch up on that a little bit, but we have not, Zach, talked at any length about Saturday night's main event, about Evolution 2, about a big injury, and how it alters the course of two-night SummerSlam, which I don't know that I'm looking forward to as much as I probably should, but all gas, all brakes today. That's what I'm going to name this episode, okay?
There you go.
Because you were flying around Belleville, all gas, no brakes. And
Yes.
everyone thought it was a danger. So I got a lot of reports in saying you got to fix this. So,
You heard the grinding metal as my car was driving by?
for anyone and most people who have got to this point, if you have never got to this point, then you suck. Because if you've ever got to the point, which you should have, where your brakes are wearing, you're like, oh, I'll get them fixed later. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. And then you hear metal on metal. And you're like, that doesn't sound good.
Yep.
At some point, it will be all gas and no brakes, which is probably not a good thing. So you got everything repaired. Everything's good in Bell Vegas. It's the middle of the summer, and it's Saturday night's main event. It is for the World Heavyweight Championship in his retirement match, Gunther and Goldberg. It's like the Ottawa GGs. Zach, I'm excited to talk to you about this. Do you know why?
Why?
Because you just finished watching it. And I'm really excited to tap into all of the momentum that Saturday night's main event has garnered here. And then Evolution and the massive build-up to that show. I think it was 2 weeks.
Yep.
Which had, I think, some ups and downs in that particular show. But there is a lot to talk about, and we have to begin with Goldberg against Gunther. And Zach, it went longer than 3 minutes. Positive, isn't it?
Define positive. Define that for me.
Okay, so you and I have a negative connotation when it comes to the WWE right now, and then especially, he's bordering on Hogan territory as my least favorite professional wrestler of all time in Goldberg. So I do come at it biased, unfortunately, for the WWE fan who was looking forward to this match. I do come at it a little bit biased. I will tell you from a positive, because I'm a very, very positive person. From a positive standpoint, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Now, that's like saying any match with Bret Hart back in the day was better than you thought it would be because he could make anybody look good. But I'm starting to feel like Gunther, in what he has done over the last 6 months, 8 months. Like I can't remember an opponent for him that I thought was almost as equally good as he was on the other side. And I say that because Gunther is now a guy that is getting into a territory where he can make anybody look at least half decent. Not that I thought that this was an incredible match by any stretch. All I'm saying, and it was because of the work of Gunther, was that this was a little bit better than my very, very, very low expectation.
I agree with you there, Lee. I went into this with some pretty low expectations. I was thinking, 3 minutes, make it action packed, fast, make it like a Goldberg match to pass. Just get it in and out quick, get it done. Wrap your, wipe your hands of this and call it a night. But this went quite longer than I thought it would. In fact, according to my run sheet, it says 15 minutes, 20 seconds for this match between Gunther and Goldberg.
Which, if you had told me that time before it started, I probably would not have watched.
Yes. I will admit to folks as well, I had been putting off this show because I had seen the reviews of this show after All In, and I was like, man, I don't know if I could stomach 15 minutes of a Goldberg match. Because here's the thing, with Goldberg, when booked, like doing the short matches, I could tolerate it. I don't love it. I think there's sometimes I absolutely love that kind of match because it's different than anything else that WWE does, and at least there's some energy and some fire that I could get invested in. So when I saw 15 minutes on the runtime, I'm like, oh boy, we are well off the beaten path on what to do with Goldberg, especially at this stage of his career. So I agree with you. I thought this was better than I thought it was going to be. I'll even go as far to say that I thought this was the best match of the night, but that's not really saying much on this Saturday night's main event show, because this show was not good, Lee. But having said that, I thought that Gunther put on a real good performance here, as you mentioned, carrying Goldberg and putting together a match. There were things that aggravated me. Goldberg laughing at the chops kind of aggravated me a little bit. And there was some general pacing stuff that was kind of a little bit off, but in terms of what these two can muster, especially with Goldberg at 58 years old with a limp coming down the ring for this match, this was better than I thought it was going to be, and it just ended up being an average match, I thought. So, which is good for Goldberg. So, kudos to Gunther to bringing Goldberg up to this pace, and you know what? I got to give some credit for Goldberg to at least, follow along with what Gunther was doing, and knowing that the stage that he was at in front of his hometown in Atlanta, and this was passable, a passable main event.
Yeah, it was. I would have rathered it like on a Monday Night Raw or something, but it was passable because of the work of Gunther. And I think this was a positive for me that I took from it, is that as much as I didn't want to watch it, I actually think Gunther came out looking better than he has in some other matches. Jey Uso, I wanted to be better. It wasn't. But I think Gunther has made the most out of every time he's been on there. And I'm hoping that puts him in much better standing going forward, that they're going to use him even more in some really, really good situations. But so you had to laugh when Goldberg got cut off when Saturday night's main event ended. It's like everyone now somehow believes that, just everything's on Netflix and we can go as long or as short as we ever want. Well, no, network television has hard outs. And when that happens, people get cut off. I laughed.
I laughed too.
I thought it was appropriate. And it was hilarious to me. I don't think it was hilarious to Goldberg.
Clearly not, based on his comments and interviews afterwards.
But I thought it was funny. I just don't understand how he came out and was like, I got a 15-minute, like I think it was actually 25 by the time the entrances and the commercials and everything happened, and then at the end, and I got cut off. I guess he just wanted the whole show, Zach. He just wanted the whole show. He had more than enough time, and if he wanted more time to talk, then he should have ended the match earlier. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, but I do want to talk about this. Appearing on many interviews afterwards, it was the Ariel Helwani show that caught me, Zach, a little bit off guard, and said I would have loved for them to announce it in January and have a build up to it, do something like that. I thought it was maybe worthy of my career, but let's just say they chose to do it with 3 weeks notice. It is what it is, part of the package, part of the meal you get dealt. I'd be remiss in thinking the meal would be different, but it's a shame on me for thinking it would be different. Don't you love the way I've been able to navigate my words? I'm just going to say 3 words right now, and I mean them from the bottom of my heart. What a loser.
Ouch.
What a loser. He thinks at 58 years old that they should have done something more for him? Like, it's laughable. It is laughable, William. You're a punk ass, never could do anything in the ring, wannabe professional wrestler that got a really nice run 30 years ago. That's when you were hot. When you were like 30 years old, not 58. Comparing himself, do you think this would have happened? Who did he mention? Like Triple H or Undertaker?
Yes.
Do you think this would have happened to them? No, because you are not them. And you were a WCW guy when you were hot. What a loser this guy is. For him to think that he deserved more than what he got in the main event in 2025 of a Saturday night's main event, got his whole family. Like, I just don't even understand. Like, I never would have given him the match. Never. He got a world title match in the main event of a primetime show. I would have said, hey, Goldberg, here's your Hall of Fame speech. We get it. You went on one of the biggest runs that we've seen in a long time. You're in the Hall of Fame. Have at it. Have 45 minutes to navigate your words. What a loser this guy is. And it made me so happy, Zach, to hear that Kevin Nash came to his defense. It's always these blankety blanks that have never been in the ring, have never done anything in their life except comment on wrestling. How do you know? You've never had a bleeping match. Have you, Kevin? Have you ever had a real match? Zach, when 2 losers get together like this, it's incredible. It's incredible theater. I shouldn't be wasting my time commenting on guys that I actually don't care about. But what a loser. I can't believe they gave him what they gave him. And for him to go on all of these major interviews afterwards and bury the company over how they treated him. I can't even, Zach. I can't. Like, it drives me up the wall. What is Goldberg beating Hogan for the title? when Hogan actually laid his shoulders down, and they did it on a Nitro. And good for them. It was 40,000 people. It was still, no matter how I feel about those two guys, it's one of the biggest pops you'll ever see.
Yep.
Like real, like genuine feelings out of 40,000 plus at the Georgia Dome, how they felt that night. You can't replicate that. But please name me a Goldberg match that you would ever go back and watch. Just one. Ever.
Well, I
And
would
so
go
you-
back and watch the Bray Wyatt match, but that's for different reasons.
No, but and being somewhat serious.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, this is one of the, I don't know, 20 biggest stars of all time. 10 biggest, like, I don't know where he ever fits in that category, but he went on this like ludicrous run. Tell me one match that you would tell somebody to go back and watch. Just one. Because I don't have it for you. It would be for the pop against Hogan. It was a terrible match, but the pop at the end was insane. I have no other match to go back and tell people, you should watch this. In fact, the one I would actually go back and tell them to watch the most is when Regal went in and kind of stiffed him for a little bit.
yes, that was one of the matches I was thinking.
And Goldberg, none too happy about actually somebody that could probably take him, in a heartbeat, making him look bad.
Yeah, you want to work today? All right,
Yeah,
we'll work today.
that's probably the one I would go back and go, here's what happens when you get in there with somebody who can actually do this thing. I don't have one to tell people about.
I've got one.
Okay.
Which is this match is more of not an ironic pick, but I would say maybe DDP Goldberg from Halloween Havoc. That was the same show that the Warrior and Hogan match was.
Is that the one that it didn't finish on pay-per-view and they had to finish it the next night?
That's what I mean from an irony standpoint, that it was kind of fitting of Goldberg in a way, because one of his best matches it got cut off and people weren't able to see the full thing, just like his retirement thing. So that's the other one. But it's always the misnomer match. When people try and, because there are people out there, Lee, because of course there is, that will try and tell you that Goldberg's actually a great professional wrestler, and they point to that DDP match. And what's the big thing about DDP that every wrestler talks about whenever they talk about wrestling DDP? They always talk about how DDP meticulously plans spot for spot what he wants to do in a match. Do you think that helped Goldberg a little bit, knowing what was going to happen next instead of having to call it in the ring? Like knowing, okay, this is the next spot I got to do, and helping to guide, DDP, or rather Goldberg, to the next spot in the match. So that's why, people talk about that match, and it's a good match, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason why Goldberg looked good in that match, because he knew what the next spot was going to be and didn't look lost. So I will say this when it comes to Bill Goldberg. I'll be a little bit more fair on Bill Goldberg, because I know you don't like Bill Goldberg. I don't like Bill Goldberg, and I thought that was a great rant, just for the record. I was sitting back, I was listening, I got some popcorn popped, I was eating my popcorn along the way as you were giving your rant about Goldberg. I was very entertained. In the case of Bill Goldberg, I don't disagree with everything that he said in terms of trying to push it to be a bigger deal and trying to make it more, especially with the placement of this on a Saturday night's main event. I think they could have done a little bit more in terms of the star power of Goldberg and trying to make it a bigger deal. Having said all that, I don't really feel that sympathetic for him. He had the choice to go to other promotions if he wanted to bring this match, this retirement match. He had the choice of AEW, and he went out there and said AEW was a clown company or something like that. He's not a serious company, something along those lines. And he could have had his own show. I know he was talking about taking it to other places and doing like a touring thing. He had all these options. Do his retirement match. Not a lot of wrestlers have the opportunity to choose where they can have their final match. So he's got this opportunity. And out of all the things he could have done, he went to WWE. And this is what he got. So my sympathy level on that is pretty low. It's like they've screwed you over before, Bill. in 2003 to 2005, not maximizing you to your potential. And they got it somewhat fixed up when you returned in 2016. You had those series of matches with Brock Lesnar. But, you know, my sympathy is kind of low in that stance for Bill Goldberg. It's like, you made your choice. Gotta lay in it. So you had your final match and you're going around, you're upset, and to an extent I understand, but at the same time, like, man, this is what you decided. So my sympathy is low for Bill Goldberg in that sense.
That was very fair. I mean, wrong, but fair.
I try to be fair. on the show.
No, I know. You managed to be wrong. You try to be fair.
I should have said Greenberg instead of Goldberg. I think that would have really.
How many times did they run Goldberg back when we had to watch him in situations that he never should have been in the last 10 to 15 years? How many times, Zach? How many times?
Quite a few.
Did he ever look good?
I like the Brock matches, but that's about it.
Was that the one with the spear F5, 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 spear, F5?
Yes. That was before we got all these finisher spam matches that we get nowadays in WWE.
Anyway, I have zero sympathy for him, and the fact that he was complaining afterwards about having a send-off with his whole family. He literally thinks he's Hogan or Undertaker, or like, dude, you were a guy that had a nice little run. You'll go down in the history of wrestling for the undefeated streak and people thinking about you in 1998. That's what people remember. And in 2025, the fact that your ego is so goddamn big that you are mad when your whole family's in the ring and they give you a main event world title shot for no reason whatsoever against one of the best wrestlers alive, that you get mad that your time got cut short at the end when you can't put 3 words together in any promo that you've ever done before, but suddenly you were going to wow us with your vocabulary at the end of a show. And now you go on these interviews and you have ample time to complain about it. Do us all a favor and go away. Quit. Go home so we don't have to watch or listen to you again. I am so thankful that you're retired that I don't ever have to watch another Goldberg match and come on this podcast and talk about you in the ring. Because for 20 years, it's been awful to watch you. Awful. These people that think that they are somehow owed things because of a run 30 years ago. Whatever happened to the what have you done for me lately? Forget about yesterday. What can you give me today? And then I'll remind you, Zach, and somebody brought this up, and I thought it was maybe to me, it's the other end of the argument. Remind me how Kurt Angle went out.
Against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania.
So he lost to Baron Corbin.
Correct.
And then retired.
Yep.
Baron Corbin. I haven't heard Kurt Angle go on shows and complain about this to anybody that would listen. Have you?
I think he mentioned he would have chosen Cena, but he hasn't been going on every single talk show. So, but I get, but the point stands. I get where you're going.
Point stands that Kurt Angle, in his sleep without waking up, was better, more entertaining, and just so much better at his craft than you ever were, Bill.
Oh, easy. Very easy.
So the fact that he lost to Baron Corbin and you lost to Gunther at 58 years old in the main event, do you think Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin was the main event of WrestleMania? I'm trying to remember. Oh, right. It wasn't. What a joke this guy is. Like, these people that can't get over themselves at this age, I'm just so, like, I get angry and then I get embarrassed for them. I'm embarrassed for them. Because everything that you ever did, you take away from when you do this. For the last 10 years, all you've done is take away from your career. That's it. And look, as one of the biggest Ric Flair guys ever in the late 80s and the 90s, like no one would ever touch Ric Flair. I've hated what he turned into in the last 10 to 15 years. Hated it, hated it, hated it. Because he was actually one of, if not the very best at his craft. And he just kept thinking that he was going to go chase the money. And look, people are allowed to do what they want to do in life. I get that. If the WWE was going to give him this, the least he could have done was appreciate it. I'm done.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be watching any more Goldberg matches. So that's the good news there. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
No,
so
I don't have to.
Yeah.
And when people ask me what's the best Goldberg match, I'm going to tell them it's the Steven Regal match.
Yeah, just tie it to it. Didn't Regal get fired after that match?
Yeah.
Trying to work some holds, some shoot holds on Goldberg.
Let me ask you straight out. Do you think Seth Rollins' injury is as legitimate as they are making it seem? Or do you think it happened before, like some reports are out there? I find that one hard to believe, but the reports are out there that it's possible. Do you think it's long term? I know, and Becky Lynch had a video like yesterday or the day before with him on crutches. What do you think about this Seth Rollins injury?
You know how I am on being hesitant on calling stuff at work and calling it, usually a lot of the time I think, this is probably legit. I think this is a work, Lee. I think all of this is a work. And I very rarely do this, but the more that's kind of talked about on this stuff and the way that Seth is talking and the way that it's being all worked out, and now the association with Heyman, and I look at the match at SummerSlam between Gunther and CM Punk, I think about what could happen there, and I do think it's a work. I think that they're trying to set something up for later and make his cash-in of the Money in the Bank briefcase all the more shocking. I think this is all kind of a deliberate play. Now, could he be? I could buy into he is hurt because wrestlers always battle through some injuries. And maybe they saw that this is an injury and they decided to work around it and make it seem that it's a bigger injury than what it actually is. But yeah, all that to say, I do think it's a work. I think that they are saving this for a surprise cash-in that people will at least expect it. I think wouldn't shock me if they do the cash-in at SummerSlam once against Punk, kind of screw over Punk, because they have been continuing that feud between Rollins and Punk. And so that is my thoughts on the matter. After I watched the angle again on Saturday night's main event, I saw the initial social media video that I watched again over this weekend, and then everything that's come out since then. I do think it's a work.
As do I. I guess the question for me would be, why would you have him get pinned by LA Knight? Why couldn't he just be hurt? Like, why would he have to do that? Because, like, what does that actually do for LA Knight? Or are they just trying to make it seem real?
I think it's the latter. Because the way that they did that was, when you see an injury and then they have to rush to the finish so that they could get the injury done, or rather treat the guy while he's injured. I think that's what happened there. I think what they were trying to do is that, all right, Seth's legit injured. We got to rush. We got to give the illusion to the fans that, we are rushing to the finish. And you saw the way that LA Knights sold it at the end. Like, this is not how I wanted to win. That sort of deal. I think they wanted to continue that angle and work some people. So that's how I'm kind of viewing it.
Yeah, I just think he's been too out there. Like, he's on Rich Eisen and Becky Lynch is sharing the videos of him on crutches. Yeah, I'm not convinced either. And newsflash, the match against LA Knight wouldn't have been any better.
No.
So I was really I couldn't believe that people were talking about the weekend because you had Saturday night's main event, you had Evolution, you had All In, you had the Great American Bash. Like it was somehow this like incredible weekend of wrestling, and I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. Doesn't seem to me like that was, but the rest of the card, Zach, what was on it again?
Let me just pull up the Saturday night's main event card here. I know we had the opener of Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre with Jelly Roll in the corner of one and Logan Paul in the corner of the other.
Okay, so let's talk about this Jelly Roll thing.
Yep.
And them going to late night television to continue the feud. There's always the line between bringing new eyeballs in and what you have to do to bring new eyeballs in, and it being too much of a spoof. And all the companies at one point or another have been guilty of this. All of them. Right? Like Shaq being involved when he never needed to be. I thought it was a little bit embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, TNA had who was
Pac-Man?
Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, teaming with Ron Killings.
Yeah, and being tag team champion, never touching anyone.
Didn't even take a bump, if I remember.
Yeah. And then certainly a lot in the WWE, WWF. So where do you fall on the line of using the, how big Jelly Roll is in the world of all media, really? I mean, he's everywhere. I watch American Idol. He's on that. The guy is literally everywhere. How do you feel about him being involved on this type of stage?
I'm kind of... I don't love it. I don't really love celebrities in professional wrestling unless they show, like, they've got a knack for it and they could do stuff that you don't usually see it from a celebrity.
But isn't a guy in this feud one of those examples? Logan Paul?
Yeah, like one of those examples for sure. Like at first I wasn't a big fan of Logan Paul coming in, but then he showed all the athletic gifts that he has when it comes to being a pro wrestler. And that changed things. I don't know about Jelly Roll. It sounds like he's committed to it, which is great. He's working at the performance center and making sure that he'll look good. He took the bump in the match as well. So obviously he's committed to it. I do kind of laugh because I'm pretty confident this is kind of a plan B with Travis Scott probably not going to be in WWE anytime soon.
No, no,
Not Travis Scott. I know.
Why would you drop that on me now?
I'm just saying, I know you were missing that Fiend song so much and you wanted to hear more of it, but I think we're done with Travis Scott and Fiend in WWE.
Getting better. Okay. Yeah, look. You have to do things to get eyeballs on it in the big stages, and they've done this for a long time. And I have to admit, I think they've been very successful in the last 5 years. Bad Bunny, Pat McAfee, Logan Paul, I think have all been terrific. And so, do I blame them? No, for doing this. And it's business. And I know a lot of things I don't like in wrestling are business. This one, I understand. I'm just hoping that they make Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul look decent in this. Randy Orton, not going to look decent no matter what. But the other two, I hope they don't get buried in this. That's my fear. I I think Jelly Roll's got a personality that he's pretty committed. Do I expect him to be Pat McAfee or Bad Bunny or Logan Paul? No. But I understand sort of I guess the risk versus reward for this. My bigger beef with it would be if I had this match on my big pay-per-view spectacular, I'd be surrounding it with other quality wrestling matches. And to me, sometimes when you bring in the big celebrity and the tag team match, I mean the Jay Leno stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And Dennis Rodman and like
Carl Malone.
Karl Malone. Yeah. I mean, it goes on and on and on about some of the things that you have to do to try and bring in new eyeballs to your product. You gotta surround it with other really quality wrestling matches. And that's what I don't think they've done. I guess I just see this situation as I could understand it and could even get behind it if it was put together with an amazing quality wrestling card, but then you have this. It's like when I have to watch that stupid Costco guy in AEW.
He
And I
brings the
think,
boom, Lee.
and Zach, he's almost in the Goldberg I can't talk about him category, but I can ignore that because of the other things that they present. I can just forget about it quite easily. I already had until right now, and now I'm back on this, and I'm sour again. But I get it. I don't love the Costco guy. In fact, I hate the Costco guy. I think it's embarrassing that him and his son are on, but at least they're keeping them on the pre-show.
Yep.
Now, Jelly Roll is much bigger than the Costco guy. I understand all of what they're doing. I guess I'll just reiterate that Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul can't be buried, and I hope they do something to help this along and not let it become the cluster bleep that it could be.
Yeah.
But I understand the risk on this one. I really do. What do you think?
I get it. I don't love. I don't love it. But business is business. But I agree with you in the sense that if there was better wrestling matches announced, you got a quality card surrounding it, you could stomach it, and you can say, okay, well, you understand why the company's doing it. Now, as a fan, I don't have to always accept that it's good for business when it comes to a company doing it. I could still say as a fan, like, I don't really need this in my professional wrestling. But just from an analysis standpoint here on the podcast, I understand.
Roman Reigns comes back. How do you think he is going to be used?
I think he's going to be in that. I think they're setting up a tag match here for SummerSlam for old Roman. The way that they've kind of outlined it because he returned on Raw. So I think it seemed like at first it was going to be set up for Roman versus Seth at SummerSlam, but obviously they've done the angle with Seth, and so they're going in a different direction. But that's the path I see with Roman is him just kind of being part of this tag match for later on. So.
Yeah, but I guess, I mean, where do you see him in the next? Is he going right back to the main event?
I think they've got no choice. I think he's a guy that you got to find a way in the main events, the way that they've pushed him over the last couple of years. And could he be in a title picture in the future? For sure. I could totally see that happening. Could they run back Roman and Cody? Could totally see them doing that at this point.
I've heard that rumor for WrestleMania in Vegas.
Yep. Make it a trilogy.
I think the biggest question is that Seth is injured. Roman's just coming back. You have Cena on limited dates. What's he got? 14, I think, left.
Yep.
As we speak right now. It's not very long. What do you do for your main event picture when you have guys kind of crumbling around you a little bit? Like, what is the plan here?
Great question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is.
No.
I would think the plan would be to get Cody and Roman back to near the top, probably include CM Punk and hope, if Rollins is not as injured as we think that he might not be, then it's probably those four, right? Because that was the triple threat from Mania, the best match by far of Punk, Seth, and Roman, and you add Cody back in there. Do you think Cody's going heel? Do you think it's, I guess, fait accompli that he turns heel and John Cena goes back to a face?
I think the way they're setting it up for sure on that. I think with The Rock being vocal about how he wants to see Cody turn heel and how he wanted that as part of the storyline, I think they're preparing for, if The Rock comes back, they are at least setting the groundwork for a Cody Rhodes heel turn in the future. So I could definitely see that happening. They don't want to be sideswiped once The Rock comes back into WWE, if he comes back this year, next year, but they're trying to set themselves up so that when he does come back and he wants to do his thing, that they'll at least be prepared for it this time. So I definitely see it eventually happening.
I just want them to get back to, like, if he's only got 14 dates left and they are planning to turn him face, they got to do it soon, don't they?
Yeah, they don't have that much time left. Probably at SummerSlam is where they have to do it.
I would think so too. And kind of forcing Cena to do the street fight and forcing him. I mean, Cody certainly has shown some heel tactics. I thought he showed them all the way back in the Kevin Owens match back at the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they need to get back to something that matters soon, because I'm very, like, this summer has been so bad, and where they've gone to at this point has been nothing short of embarrassing to me. So how do they get back to that? It's probably your most trusted stars, putting them back at the forefront. And so to me, that would be Cody, Roman, Seth, and Punk. I can't really see anything else that would kind of get me going. You?
Yeah, not much else right now.
Now, what about Gunther? I think that they believe in him more and more and more. But to me, it's easy to say that. But if they don't put him in something that matters, could he beat CM Punk? Is he just going to lose to him and fade away? What do you think the future is of Gunther here?
Yeah, in the case of Gunther, the World Heavyweight Championship is always something that I just find is just kind of there as your supplement. So in the case of Gunther, so in my very early predictions, I would imagine that Punk is going to beat Gunther, but then Seth is going to cash in on Punk so that he could take his title away from him, so that they can reignite the CM Punk Seth Rollins feud, but for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's how I view that title kind of going. So in the case of Gunther, I think he's just kind of the odd man out. He's obviously got the title back. They planned it to where he gets the title back so that they could do this Gunther match, or the Goldberg match rather. So, yeah, it's his path is a little bit tougher. I would hope that it would, guide him to the Undisputed Championship, but that's the thing with the World Heavyweight Championship stuff, is just kind of a thing to keep your guys working on stuff while you focus on your actual major projects and storylines that you want to work at.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about him and where they go. I just hope that him guiding Goldberg along really does something. I wanted to hit you with this. I don't know if you saw this or not. So the totals are in for the WWE Premium Live events streamed internationally. Because that's where, all the PLEs are on.
Yep.
So if I had to ask you what the top viewership numbers are of anything that's happened from the beginning of the year until now, you would say what?
I would say if I'm including the beginning of the year and going up to this point, I would assume from a PLE standpoint, I assume Royal Rumble is pretty high up there because that's usually a casual draw. Maybe Mania, probably Mania, at least one of those nights. I guess one of those big pay-per-views, one of those big 4 or 5 if you include Money in the Bank.
Okay, so I'll give you 5 of them, and I'll give you the top 5. Okay, in no particular order, and I want you to rank them.
Okay.
I'll give you WrestleMania, Night 1, Night 2, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, and Elimination Chamber.
Okay. Interesting.
Those are the top 5.
In no particular order.
Right. And I want you to rank them for me now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say number 1 is the Rumble, only because of the timing of the Netflix stuff. That there's that new intrigue. People are kind of going in, and it's the first major pay-per-view. So I will say Royal Rumble number 1. I'll say Mania number 2.
You have to give me the nights.
Oh, the nights.
Because both are nights.
Okay, so number 2, night 2. And number 3, night 1. I'll say 4 is... I'll say Elimination Chamber, again, only because of the vicinity of when the PLE stuff was kind of going through on the streaming deals. And I'll say 5 is Money in the Bank. That is my that is how I assume it will go.
1 through 5, Zach. You are correct.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
All right.
It's like you had it in front of you.
I did not have it in front of me.
I know you didn't, because I just threw it at you last minute. I guess my point would be, I do understand that people would say, if you total up WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2, that is obviously more, but they're separate nights, separate viewership. Would it concern you that the Royal Rumble at 3 million is ahead of either one of the WrestleMania nights?
Well, I think the interesting part of that is, Money in the Bank is the most recent show, and that is the one with less viewership. So I think you're kind of seeing this trend a little bit. I know with WrestleMania, but that's kind of different because that is your tentpole flagship PLE.
Well, how about Night of Champions? I didn't give you that because Backlash and Night of Champions were also in there.
Oh, well, there you go.
And Night of Champions was the most recent one, was it not?
Yes. The one in Saudi Arabia there? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was significantly lower. That was at 1 million. That was a third of what the Rumble did. And by 500,000 people, the lowest one they've had. Now, it was on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever it was, I guess, but you can always go back and watch it. The Royal Rumble, number 1, 3 million, 2.8 million night 2, 2.4 million night 1 of WrestleMania, an Elimination Chamber, 1.9, Money in the Bank, 1.6, and then they go to Backlash, 1.5, then a Champions, 1 million. I just think it's interesting that Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble has more views than their biggest show of the year. And I'm not trying to be a WWE hater when I say this, because I think the Royal Rumble is very intriguing every year. But it's also like saying that if you're going to compare it to an AEW, and all of a sudden, I don't know, Dynasty has better numbers than All In. It shouldn't. If you're gearing up all year to your biggest show of the year. Now, in there, comes the newness of Netflix in the first month. I do understand that that is a factor, but I still don't think it should outdraw John Cena turning heel and in the main event of your WrestleMania Sunday night main event.
Mhm.
And I think the numbers reflect it. I just think that that's fairly interesting. What I also find interesting, Zach, let's talk a little bit of evolution.
Mhm.
I thought there was a major, I'm going to be Goldberg now. I thought there was a major disservice to this show with the buildup of it. And I heard some critics, including some of the wrestlers, and I actually agree with them. I don't think this show was given the buildup that it deserved. Because if you're going to feature the all women's pay-per-view and you haven't done it in, correct me if I'm wrong, 8 years? No, 7 years. It started
7
in
years.
18.
Yeah, 2018 was
Yeah.
still a
Right.
while.
I don't think it got the proper build-up. I thought there were some ups and downs in this show. I thought it was an okay show. I thought it was much better than Saturday night's main event. But your initial reaction to WWE Evolution 2?
I liked it. I liked the show. This is my favorite WWE show of the year. I kind of like you though, in the sense that there were some really high highs, and I thought a lot of people really loved this show. I saw some feedback that, this was I saw some saying an all-timer show. I wouldn't go that far, but I did think this was a good show. I did like the opener, and I was really liking the main event until the finish with the cash in from Naomi. I thought that main event between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, I thought those two were having a great match, and probably would be, even with the finish, probably my WWE match of the year.
Yep.
I really like that match, but then the finish happened.
I'd only put the triple threat at Mania up there with it.
Yep, I would also agree with that. And then the finish happened with Naomi, and it just, again, I'm so disconnected sometimes with the WWE fan base, because the heel came out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, cashed in during this great match, like a legitimately great match, cashed in, won, and people were cheering and talking about what a great moment this is for Naomi. I mean, again, I'm just so disconnected with, with what, it's just so ass backwards to me that is the reaction that people had. Not that this all-time, a potentially great match, a match that could have defined that pay-per-view moving forward, but no, people are talking about finally Naomi getting her moments in the main events and whatnot. So that bugged me. But I thought the women had their working boots on. I thought all the women that were showcased were working really hard on this show, and I enjoyed it. Again, I thought this was my favorite WWE show in terms of a PLE or a special event of the year. I'm including the WrestleManias in that too, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show, and I really liked that main event. I would have absolutely loved it if that finish didn't happen, though. That could have been a legitimate match of the year contender for me.
One of the biggest letdowns after a really good match that I've experienced in a while.
Yep.
And maybe because the WWE doesn't give us quality matches all the time, you really appreciate when they do. Io Sky and Rhea Ripley was, if it's not the best match of the year, it's right there. So why you thought it was a good idea at that point to have somebody come out and just take the world title from them, when it's very clear, I don't, this is another part of the I don't give a damn about what you think you're owed or what people she deserves a moment. Why? Is she intriguing to watch? Do I care about Naomi when she comes out? No. Now I'm getting an amazing match with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And that's the point that you want that somebody deserves their moment. I was really let down by this. And I think because I don't get a lot of matches that I really go, hey, this is really good. And I finally get one, and then you do it in that match. Like, I'm the same as you. I don't know that I've experienced in the last few months as sort of big of a high and then a letdown as this, because the match was so good. And now all people are going to remember is Naomi, and they're not going to remember the match or care about the match. That match should have just gone on. 26:20 was the runtime on it. It should have just been 26:20, and then everybody stand and appreciate how great those two women are. That's what it should have been.
Yep.
I'm not as high on it as you. I think some of the right people won. Like Stephanie Vacour winning the Evolution Battle Royal for the World Championship match at Clash in Paris. I didn't love Lash Legend being second and having a really, really good run. Like I just didn't. It didn't hit with me.
That was my weakest match, just for the record, too. The Battle Royal.
Yeah, again, Battle Royals are clunky. I didn't mind JCJ and Jordan Grace with the heel turn from Blake Monroe.
I mean, Michael Cole botched the call at the end.
Of course he did.
He's been having a bad run recently. Like,
I agree.
He's been brutal recently. I don't know. Maybe he just needs to take some time off or something. But man, like he's been missing some calls recently that he should not be missing.
Yeah. I just can't get over how Jade Cargill can't put a match together.
Yep.
I didn't love this one either. And I thought the Bianca thing was just weird. It didn't connect. I think that's the biggest word. I appreciated, and what you say is true. A lot of women had their working boots on. I just thought some things didn't connect for me.
Yep.
But when you compare it to other shows that the WWE has put on, I'm like, yeah, no, it was pretty good compared to this. But if I just in a vacuum look at it on its own, I thought some of the women looked really good and worked really hard, but a lot of things just didn't connect for me, including Tiffany Stratton. I thought the match against Charlotte would have sent her into the kind of the next level. I haven't seen it. And putting her in with Trish was never going to be great, but she gets clunky a lot, Tiffany, and it feels like that might be coming to an end soon.
Yeah. You didn't think the match with Trish would take her to the next stratosphere?
No, I didn't. No. I did not.
Yeah, I didn't. I enjoyed the work, but I think the thing with Stratton, she came in with a lot of hype, and understandably so, because she showed a lot, she flashed a lot, but I think she was called up a little too early. I still believe that. I think she should have been cooking a little bit more before she got called up. But sometimes that's what happens: is you get the call up and you got to show it. And in this case, there are things going against her. I think she's miscast as a babyface when she should be a heel, and other factors. But in the case of Stratton, it's not looking too great right now in terms of her elevation and taking that next step.
I will give them some praise because what I think they've done is pretty. They had some, pardon the pun here, some damage control to do with Charlotte Flair. And I think they've done a really good job of her coming out and going, yeah, like I was embarrassed when Tiffany threw the line at me. It's made her more human. And I think I don't know if it's just because I like them both, but pairing her with Alexa Bliss, I think has really let her guard down. People like Alexa Bliss, so they're going to like Charlotte because she's with Alexa Bliss. I think it's a really smart pairing for the WWE to kind of reshape Charlotte Flair a little bit. You do not feel this way.
I thought the tag match, again, the work was in there. I don't know if I love the Alexa Bliss pairing in the current gimmick that Alexa Bliss is in. I agree with you though. This is kind of a rebuilding. I don't know if we talk about her what's that, Players Tribune, I think is what it's called. That article.
Not
there.
really. No,
I don't think we really. It kind of opened up a little bit. Now I've been somebody that I think there's been a lot of criticisms on Charlotte Flair. Some of it I've personally found a little bit unnecessary and borderline bullying with some of the talk about Charlotte Flair, and then people act shocked when she acts on stuff that, like, well, you criticize her for all this stuff. So I think it was good for her to kind of write that piece and show that human perspective, because I think for so long, because of the way she's been pushed, I'm not saying I've loved everything in terms of her pushes and her work or anything like that, but just from like a human aspect, you kind of go, okay, this is an actual human being here that's
right.
That you're learning a little bit more. So I do kind of agree with you in the sense that I think there's more. This is kind of a chance to, I don't want to say rebuild her, but kind of get her refocused, and kind of get her back to a groove and get her comfortable. And if that means working with Alexa Bliss and getting that character element back, so be it. I don't love the pairing, but I understand the thought process behind it. We'll see. We'll see when it comes to Charlotte Flair, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the matter.
All right, you also had a chance to watch Slammiversary, and I've read the results. I have not watched the card, but the return of AJ Styles was promoted going into it too, and I think that had a lot of people pretty excited about this card. What were your expectations of Slammiversary going into it?
I was going into to Slammiversary thinking, I looked at the card and the card didn't really appeal to me that much, but I was going in thinking, you know what? This is the biggest, based off the attendance record that they've announced, this is the biggest show that they've ever done in North America. They've got a lot of new eyeballs coming in. You got AJ Styles, as you mentioned, being showcased. First time he's back in TNA since 2014. So there's a lot of things that I was thinking, okay, maybe they will have their working boots on, and this is a chance for them to really showcase and perform for a new audience. There's going to be some WWE eyeballs on there, obviously, with the partnership with WWE. So I was going into this thinking, the card doesn't really appeal to me that much. I don't think it's going to be great in terms of a card perspective, but maybe these guys will have their working boots on, knowing the gravity of the show and the moment. Lee, unfortunately, I have to report that I think this is a worst show of the year contender at the end of the year.
Really?
This was not good. It was not all bad. There were some good things on the show, but the bad was pretty bad on the show. It was
okay. So
not great.
Let's quickly go through it. They opened up with Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander.
This is good. They did 17,000 interference spots in the match, so they couldn't let these guys really cook and do stuff. Ali tried to do a dive to the outside, and nobody caught him, of course, and so he landed on his head on the outside, which was not great. But I was going in, it's like, a lot of it is nostalgia. TNA loves doing that. That's going to be the theme of the review, is a lot of nostalgia that they're trying to get you with. In this case, the nostalgia going back to the 205 Live days, the peak of 205 Live, with Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali were having these great matches on the show. And this was a good match, but there was way too much interference for them to really allow them to cook and allow them to really get a great match. So I was a little underwhelmed with the opener. They were really trying. There were some spots in there that you could tell that were pretty gnarly, but it was a solid enough opener. This was my second favorite match of the show.
Oh wow, that's your second favorite match. That it wasn't exactly a glowing review. All right. The Dark State taking on the Indie God. I think Matt Cardona and the System. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards and JDC. So, okay, tell us about this one.
Well, all the stars were here from Dark State, Lee. All the names that you're familiar with: Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, Saquon Sugars, and
Yep.
Cutler James.
Yep.
All the stars here in this 8-man tag team match. Matt Cardona, the indie god. I still laugh at Kevin Owens' quote about he says you're the king of the indies, yet talk about going back to WWE and how he should be hired.
By the way, quick note that Kevin Owens did have successful neck surgery. Don't know how long he's going to be out, maybe even up to a year, but he did have it the other day. And please do yourself a favor. I went and watched the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens full interview. Yes, they promote Cody's vodka, but this was as good of a sit down between two guys that just respect each other. I loved it.
Me too.
I couldn't get enough of it.
So good.
And please do yourself a favor. You can find it anywhere. I actually just went on YouTube and typed it in. It came up. I watched the whole thing. It was incredible. And if you enjoy two guys just sitting around like really talking, this was not hyperbole, right? Like this was just two guys kind of sitting down.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and watch that. Don't watch this tag match. It was boring. It was 6 minutes. It felt like it was 16.
Oh my God.
It was very much. I know you miss Fandango, Lee. So you got some Fandango here, known as JDC.
Yeah.
I think his name should be JAG because he's just another guy on the roster.
Another guy.
So yeah, he's there. If you love 2010's WWE, I mean, you really got your fill in this match. So yeah, it was a tag match. I could have seen this on TV. This was not deserving of being on pay-per-view. It was 6 minutes.
All right, I'm excited to ask you about India Hartwell and Tessa Blanchard because I still want Tessa Blanchard to get to the level I think that she was at before. They had her as the world title holder back against Sami Callihan, and they were doing some novel stuff with her 5 years ago, and then a little bit of controversy followed her. Has she followed it up? India Hartwell and Tessa Blanchard.
This is sloppy. It's a little sloppy. I wouldn't put it on Tessa. I would put it more on Indy Hartwell. But the controversy has not moved on from Tessa Blanchard, Lee, because there were some very loud, prominent "she's a racist" chants during this match. So not going great in terms of the rehabilitation tour of Tessa Blanchard. You remember Alicia Fox?
Yeah.
She is now Victoria Crawford here in TNA. One half of Cameron's favorite professional wrestling match, Alicia Fox versus Melina. So I got to see her in this match. They were trying to make this an epic, or not even really an epic. They were trying to make this a good match, but it was not clean. They did not have the greatest chemistry. Indy Hartwell is not a great wrestler.
Yeah.
So I didn't think Tessa was bad here. Look, I'm not the biggest Tessa guy anymore. In terms of her in-ring work, I think she's a good wrestler, but the thing with TNA, they've handled the stuff with Tessa so poorly that the fact that they're getting "she's a racist" chants in the middle of the match is just an indictment of TNA of how they handled this. So it's still following her around. Indy Hartwell won. This is the second straight loss. It was noted on commentary by Tom Hannafin that this is the second straight loss for Tessa Blanchard. So maybe she's showing that, hey, I could put people over. It's okay. WWE, come call, and I'm willing to answer the phone. But by the way, production also bad this show. It was bad this show. We criticize AEW for their production, and rightfully so. But I would like to apologize to the AEW production crew after this show. I mean, there was a pre-tape that they forgot to cut. I think it was after this match.
The Ash by Elegance.
Yes. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching. They're just standing around and they're, I'm like, oh, is this part of the promo segment? Then I heard all right, 3, 2. I was like, no. Guys, there's 15 seconds of that. You could count every second of and then they got into their scene and they started acting. I'm like, guys, this is their biggest show. Quality control. TNA's gonna TNA, Lee. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So production not great, and there was also some weird audio imbalancing throughout the show. It was just weird. Um, I sometimes I love Tom Phillips, and then sometimes like, man, he's like the second coming of Michael Cole. Like, he can be so aggravating. He's very hot and cold for me. Sometimes I really like him, and sometimes I'm like, man, a little bit too much. We could dial it down a little.
Tom Hannafin.
Yes, the former Tom Phillips, for those I might remember him from.
All right, champion versus champion. Masha Slamovich against JC Jane, NXT champion against TNA Knockouts champion.
This was better than the Indy Hartwell Tessa Blanchard match, but not by much. I want to really like Masha Slamovich. Really want to like her. I really like the character. I really like the gimmick. But every time I've seen her wrestle, I've not been as impressed as others have been. I don't think she's bad, but I don't think she's this elite level worker like I see some comparisons made of her. So of course, it's a showcase of TNA. This is the biggest night in TNA's history. We got to make sure that TNA is looking good. So what do? They got the NXT woman winning the TNA Knockouts World Championship in the winner take all match. Let's put a pin on that for later on in the night. So JC Jane wins clean. They tried to do some stuff, some run-ins on the outside, but JC Jane was able to get the victory. So another NXT person has a TNA championship. The guy that's now become more of a figurehead for TNA, whose name escapes me all of a sudden, Silva. I think his name is Dave Silva or something like that.
Yeah.
So he had to hand over the belt, and of course, he is the TNA guy, so he's upset about having to hand over the belt, and he's so upset he had a giant smile on his face when he did it. So yeah, this was better than the other match, but it was a fairly average match. I wouldn't go out of your way to see it.
Right.
So yeah, it's 12 minutes 45 seconds. It was average.
All right, let's talk about Carlos Silva and
Carlos Silva. Yes, my bad.
Let's talk about Carlos Silva and Leon Slater and Moose for the X Division Championship.
This is my favorite match of the night. This is a legitimately very good match, and I recommend people go see it. Moose had his working boots on, and he brought back his old Moose theme. I do actually quite like going Moose every time on the theme song. I don't like eating, but I do like saying Moose, so they got me there. Leon Slater, I think, is going to be somebody. He's 20 years old, he looks really good, and he can only get better from here, I imagine. He's already very good. And these two, they worked hard. This was a match that got the crowd on their feet. Leon Slater gets the victory. This was my favorite parts of the show. Because not only do you have Leon Slater winning, he's the youngest X Division champion in TNA history. But that's when they had AJ Styles come out afterwards. He came out to his old I Am theme from TNA. And he put over Leon Slater. This was a good piece of business here. I really enjoyed this. I would recommend people go out of their way and see this, because I think Leon Slater is a guy, and it's gonna suck when WWE eventually takes him, because that's just gonna how it's gonna roll with his partnership. But very good match, very high energy, high pace. Leon Slater's got a cool finishing move where he turns a swanton bomb into a 450.
Yeah,
it's really cool looking, and my favorite match of the night, a legitimately very good match that I recommend people go and watch.
The TNA World Tag Team Championship ladder match had Nick and Ryan, the Nemeth brothers, against the Hardys and the Rascals and First Class. I know how much you love your ladder matches.
Oh, I saw a ladder match. I was like, great. And I saw Hardys. I was like, even better. It's 2025, and we are still throwing the Hardys out there in a ladder match in the year of our Lord 2025. How much more Hardys and ladder matches can I get? Well, I'll put a pin on that there, Lee.
Yeah, apparently maybe one more.
Maybe more. Maybe more is coming. So this ladder match, it's every ladder match you've seen, other than the rope ladder being put down, which I was not expecting that spot. Don't know if I loved it or hated it. Every ladder match you've watched, you'll see in this match. The big takeaways: AJ Francis, the most confident man who hasn't earned anything in pro wrestling I've ever seen in pro wrestling. he took a bump here in this ladder match where he decided, I'm not going to land on my back as this ladder is being tipped over and I got to take the bump to the outside of the other ladder. I'm not going to land on my back like any other pro wrestler would do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go legs first and I'm going to crotch myself into the ladder. It looked, I legitimately thought he broke both of his legs when he did that spot. I was like, geez, man. I got up out of my seat because I thought he had broken his legs. Somehow he's okay. So good on him. That was the only spot I could remember from the match, if I'm being completely honest. That poor Ryan Nemeth, who talked about how he's blacklisted from pro wrestling, getting in this TNA World Tag Team Championship match on pay-per-view in front of the biggest crowd in TNA in North American history. Poor guy just getting blacklisted from pro wrestling. I hate to see it. And in the year of our Lord 2025, the Hardys have won a ladder match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Again, in 2025. I was like, all right, fine. Showcase the Hardys, sure. How could they possibly touch on this nostalgia even more, I said.
Oh, here we go.
And then Bully Ray came out. Only Bully Ray. No Devon. Just Bully Ray. And he cut a promo. And it was your classic Bully Ray promo where he talks really slowly so that he could try and emphasize the points that I want to make and give this illusion that I have the crowd hanging on to my every word. I'm going to put myself over for 3 minutes and then talk about the actual matchup with the Hotties. Oh, great. Love me a Bully Ray promo at 10:30 in the evening when I was watching this. And guess what, Lee? You love 2000. You love WrestleMania 17. You love SummerSlam 2000. You love those feuds with, the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. Well, we're going to have one last match between the Hardys and Team 3D. Again, in the year of our Lord 2025, we're going to have a nostalgia match. The Hardys taking on the Dudleys one last time. And what better place to do it than in Lowell, Massachusetts at Bound for Glory. So get excited, Lee. Get fired up. Devon not there. I don't know how Devon's going to wrestle because the guy, I don't know if you've seen his injury report, Lee, but he's not exactly a very healthy human being. So I don't know how he's going to be able to compete in this match that's coming up in October. I don't know if there's going to be a fill-in Dudley. Maybe they bring back Sign Guy Dudley. I know he used to work in marketing for TNA, which is hilarious that Sign Guy Dudley worked in marketing.
Yeah.
But maybe they bring him back. Dances with Dudley. Maybe he comes back.
Yeah.
Name all the other Dudleys. Maybe Joel Gertner will make an appearance again.
Spike
Dudley. Yeah. Maybe they bring back Spike, So I guess we'll see, but we are rekindling one last time, Lee. I know you wanted it. I know you wanted another match between these two, so we're gonna get it.
I won't watch and I don't care. I literally don't. I'm so done with, and I really enjoy Bully Ray on Busted Open.
Yeah.
But
I can't stand his wrestling promos now.
No.
He's just so slow and he has to talk like this so that he can try and get his points across.
And the Hardys, I'm just so done with too. Like I don't have any time for them.
Yep.
Anymore. Okay, so now we got the triple threat. The TNA World Championship, Trick Williams, Joe Hendry, and Mike Santana. I'm going to tell you that I thought something was going to happen in this match, and it did not. So tell us about it.
Yes, Mike Santana was coming in with some momentum here, Lee. From New York, people were going crazy for Mike Santana. People going in saying, oh, this is the chance to do it. This is the moment to do it with Mike Santana and put the TNA World Championship on him because they've been building to this. Joe Hendry's a guy. I know what people say. He got so much exposure at WrestleMania by how all those people watching how big of a geek he was by taking that loss and getting pounded with RKOs from Randy Orton at WrestleMania. So he could take the fall in this match. It's okay. And Trick Williams, this is what they're setting up for. This is what the WWE partnership will do because this is the opportunity for Mike Santana to win the belt off of an NXT guy. And I know they throw the third guy in there probably so he could take the belt. But they could at least go in and say, hey, we beat a WWE guy, and we've got our new guy in Mike Santana. This is a three-way match that you usually see on TV. Nothing special, if I'm being honest. They had Trick Williams. They did the thing where Trick Williams was on the outside and he was injured, and so they had Joe Hendry and Mike Santana be the focal point. And in just pure brilliance of booking here, Lee, they decided they had Mike Santana get his finishing move. He goes in for the pin, but then Trick Williams is able to recover, throws Santana off after the 2 count.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Never seen that one before. And then Trick Williams comes in and he gets the 3 count. I mean, funny enough that Joe Hendry took a 5 count in this match. This guy that's supposed to be like super over and, you know, this big star, he's getting a 5 count here. But the fact that this is a showcase of TNA and everything, the grand showcase of all these years of TNA and a celebration of TNA, that in our main event, we have an NXT guy still our TNA World Champion. Not the guy from New York. Not the guy with 7,600 people or however many people were in that building cheering him on. And the build-up for this show, too, by the way. Your guy, Dave LaGreca, was on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Brutal pre-show, by the way. I don't know why I watched it, but Dave LaGreca, he picked Mike Santana to win. There was the other guy there that picked Mike Santana to win. I'm going to be honest, I don't know who he was. And I didn't bother to look him up because I really don't care. And then they had all these expert picks. Oh, Mike Santana is going to win. Really kind of building into fans' thoughts that, okay, he's going to win. And in an LOL TNA moment in the year of our Lord 2025, Trick Williams is able to retain the belt. And that's how we go off the air, Lee. Trick Williams is still the TNA World Champion. And so, not a good night for TNA when it comes to getting their belts back and on their biggest show. But they had 7,600 people in the building, so I guess that's all worth it in their minds.
Okay, so just to wrap this up, because I really felt strongly that Santana should win. And it's after I heard that JC Jane, because I was following along.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, JC Jane won? Really? Okay, well, now Santana's going to win for sure. No. So as I go through here, and I say Mustafa Ali, who is a former WWE guy, Matt Cardona, a former WWE guy, Indy Hartwell, former WWE girl, and then, yes, you put over Leon Slater, but you did it against one of your own in Moose. Okay, but you're trying to make a bigger star. Certainly the Hardys or the Dudleys are not TNA homegrown. And now you have Trick Williams. I go back to our conversation about Joe Hendry at WrestleMania and all the people saying that it was good for business and Joe Hendry coming out and saying it and all these people saying how great it was. And now you have their biggest show. And what I got from the show is it had some legends on it. Back to the same Goldberg talk that we had at the beginning of the show. And your 2 major championships, the women's and the men's heavyweight titles, were won by NXT people. I just don't understand how that makes a lot of sense for TNA, but I'm sure the TNA and the Joe Hendry defenders will come at us with, you have no idea how good this is for business. Well, just like we told you when Joe Hendry got squashed at WrestleMania by Randy Orton and everyone wanted to tell us, we were the ones who actually set the record straight. It wasn't good for business. And where has that led to? The biggest show of the year, all the NXT people won. Like, give your heads a shake.
Yep. Other than Dark State, which I know just a big, heavily pushed act, but otherwise, yes.
What do you mean? Didn't Matt Cardona and the System win?
Well, yes, they beat the Dark State, and the Dark State is from NXT.
Yeah, but Matt Cardona's not from TNA.
Yeah, he pops in every once in a while, but he's not a TNA guy. I know what you mean.
Oh, sure. He popped in against Adam Copeland on AEW as well. Like,
Yep.
he's kind of the indie god.
Yep.
Like,
Until he wants to go to WWE. Yes.
yeah, but my point is that like the system is not like that match to me is Matt Cardona. It's not Dark State. I just don't understand where you're trying to build your own company and you're putting over the other company all the time.
Yep.
And you keep telling people it's great for business. And I'm like, okay. It's a major mistake to not put that on Mike Santana.
Yep.
In Long Island.
Agreed.
Like it's just a major mistake. I don't understand where they think they're going with this. But so Zach not happy with Slammiversary, one of the worst cards of the year. That's not good.
Not good. It was not a good show.
Well, I actually think for rating a Saturday night's main event, not a good show, and a Slammiversary, not a good show, bookending this pretty good show
Yeah, I'd say so.
that you and I have done here. Again, I'm not going to apologize for having views on wrestling as we know it. That's our job. It's what we do. I feel badly that I'm so down on WWE, but even with TNA, with the WWE influence coming in and just taking over and literally not putting over your homegrown stars, it makes no sense. From a business point of view, it makes no sense. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but we're approaching in just 2 weeks, Zach. 2 nights of SummerSlam. Get ready.
Get fired up.
It's at the very beginning of August coming up here. And then there's going to be a Monday Night Raw in Montreal, I think on the 8th of August. So we got some things to look forward to. I said we'd hit on Dynamite, but we'll save that for our next episode because it was an important one. I think they got some of it right, some of it wrong, but it was an important Dynamite with the follow-up. And I guess I'm sitting here as a wrestling fan, not knowing what the injuries are to Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, hoping upon hope that they are not out for Forbidden Door and All Out that we will be attending. So that scares me a little bit as an AEW fan, but it's not unlike any time you go watch your favorite team, you go watch the Senators and Brady Kachuk's out with an injury. Well, maybe you came to see Brady Kachuk, and that's one of the things that you're excited to see. And unfortunately, guys get hurt. I am hoping for Will Ospreay and for Kenny Omega that they're not going to be out that long. Cross our fingers, Zach.
Crossing my fingers for sure.
Well, that's going to do it. We'll be back, and we'll have a lot more to talk about as the summer rolls along with AEW, and of course, we got WWE and John Cena's appearances winding down, and what is going to happen at SummerSlam in less than 2 weeks' time. For Zach McGibbon, Hornsey, I'm Versage. Thanks again for listening to This Is Wrestling.